So first let's talk about the measures of central tendency. In the earlier video, we hope you've seen on the mean, that's averages. Right? That is one of the most important or most frequently used measure of the central tendency. So what do we mean by measures of central tendency, right? A brief idea about this. So let's say I have data, right? The whole world is nowadays filled with a lot of data. We're collecting them. Let's say I have data of 100 students, right? Their scores in an exam, 10, 12, 14 and so on up to let's say 98 is the highest, and these are, like, I have 100 student scores. It is very difficult for someone to spend time to go through all the 100 data points or 100 scores and understand what's the performance of the whole class, right? I can definitely understand, okay, the highest is 98, the least is 10, even this when it's in arranged format. Otherwise I have to go through and get some understanding. So the measures of central tendency basically are like summary point, like summary statistic. Just I'll give you one value which would give you an understanding of the entire group. Right? If I ask you, okay, how did the 100 students perform? So I'll give you one value, just one value, which would give you a sense of, okay, this is how the class has performed. The class has performed, not the individual student. So that's the measure of central tendency. So there are different things, mean, median and mode. So these are all one of those values I'm saying, right? I can calculate mean of these 100 values and say that is my summary value. Or I can calculate median and also answer that. Or I can use mode and answer that. So which is most, relevant one? It depends. It completely depends on the situation. Maybe sometimes mean is the best way to give a summary, sometimes median or sometimes mode. So you have to be very careful with that. But okay, that's a different story in terms of application. But for the solving of problems, you don't have to worry a lot about that. Mean, we have already discussed in the earlier. If you have not, we strongly recommend you to watch the video on averages. Mean, basically sum of all data or sum of all values by the number of values we have, right? That's how we calculate the mean. Now let's focus on the median and mode now. So how to calculate median? So let's say I have a data set of 7 people whose scores are 8, 6 out of 10, let's say out of 10, 5, 9, 6, 4, right? And then 2, let's say this, right? These are the scores of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 students, right? So the step 1 to calculate median of a given data, median is basically picking the middlemost value, okay? That's like if you understand the percentiles well, it's like picking the 50th percentile. That is the person who scored more than 50% of the students, or whatever the measurement we are looking at, height, weight or anything. Basically the value which is greater than 50% of the entire data would be actually the median. So first, for that reason, you should arrange the given data in an order. So let's say arrange in an ascending order or increasing order. That is, pick from the least to highest. That's how you should arrange. So what would I do for this? What is the least? 2. Next it is 4, 5, 6, 6, 8 and 9. Right? This is how the data will be arranged. Step 2, find the number of data points or number of elements in the data. I mean, I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So let's say this, the number of elements is n, so that's 7 elements. Here we have two different routes we have to take. Depending on if n is odd, we have something to do. If n is even, we have to do something else. If n is odd, the median is basically n plus 1 by 2th term. Right, n plus 1 by 2th term, not n plus 1 by 2 is not the median, it is n plus 1 by 2th term. So what do I mean by that? See here, n is odd, right? N is 7. So what is this? Median is 7 plus 1 by 2th term. That is 8 by 2 is 4th term. What do I mean by 4th term? In this arranged order, this is the first term, this is the second term, this is the third term, this is the 4th term, and I need to say that this is my median. Right, 6 is the median for this case. What should I do when n is even? Okay, let's say for the sake of calculations, I add something like this. Okay, let's add 8, or maybe let me add another 3. Okay, let's do this. So what will happen when I arrange? It will be 2, 3, 4, etc., etc. So I have n is 8. N is even. So if n is even, the median is basically average of n by 2th term and the next term, that is n by 2 plus 1th term. And if I write in n, it looks a bit complicated, but let's take a simple example, the same thing. I've arranged them. That's always the step 1. Number of elements I found out to be 8, that's even number. So what should I do to find the median? See, what is n by 2? 8 by 2 is 4. So basically I need to do average of 4th term, and the next term is 4 plus 1 5th term. That is what this entire thing is talking about. So what is the 4th term? 1st term, 2nd term, 3rd term, 4th term, and 5th term. So 4th term is 5 and 5th term is 6. So what is the average of 5 and 6? So that is 5 plus 6 by 2. So it's 11 by 2 is 5.5. Right? The median is 5.5 in this case. Right? That's how you calculate the median. 2 steps stay same. Do not forget this part. Arrange in the ascending order. Find the number of elements. See if they are odd. It's easy to just n plus 1 by 2th term. If it's even, you need to do median of. So that median is average of n by 2th term and n by 2 plus 1. That's the next term. Like if I say n by 2 is 4th term, do 4th and 5th term and take the average of those 2 terms. Right? That's how you solve this median. Now that's how you find out median for a given data set. So mode is basically picking out the value or the data element which is repeating the most number of times in a given data set. Most repeating element in the data set. Right? That's called the mode. But the basic rule is that mode, that's repeating element, should repeat at least twice, not just once. So if it is repeating once, let's say I have a data set which has data like this. What is the mode of this? I see each element is repeating only once, right? So I cannot say that all of them are mode, or 1 is mode, or 2 is mode, or anything. The repeating element should be at least repeating twice, otherwise it's not a mode, right? So in this case, there can be a set with no mode also, understand that. There will always be mean and median for a given set, but there could be some data sets where you don't find a mode. So no modal sets, that's no mode. I can have a set, for example, what is the mode here? 3. Why? 3 is repeating once, twice and thrice. Everything else is repeating only once. Let's say I have another 2. Still the mode is 3 because 2 is repeating twice. Agreed, but that's not the highest number of repetitions, right? 3 is repeating thrice. Let's say I have a data set like this. 3 is repeating thrice and 2 is also repeating thrice. So what is the mode here? Both 3 and 2. Right? It's a bimodal set. Basically, I have 2 modes. Just so one data set can have multiple modes as well, and one data set can have no modes as well, and some data sets will have only one unique mode. Right? All of these are possible. The basic rule is that you have to pick the element which is repeating the most number of times in the data set, but it should also repeat at least twice. If it's just happening once, I cannot say that okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is mode, or none of them are actually modes. None of them are actually modes. Right? I cannot pick any one of these as modes, or I cannot say all 5 of them are modes because they are repeating most number of times. That is only once. Once is not counted. That's a basic point you should not miss. Other than that, it's simply you don't have to arrange or anything. Just pick the element which is repeating the most number of times and also ensure that it is at least appearing twice. That should be your mode. If there are multiple modes, yes, that is also possibility. You'll have multiple modes. So let's look at a very simple example for given data sets. What we'll recommend you is pause the video and try solving them. Nothing complicated in this. Hope you have tried and you've got the answers. So simply the question is asking us to find out mean, median and mode for the given sets. So for set A, what is the mean? The sum of values, right? It's 1 plus 3, 4 plus 5, 9 plus 3, 12 plus 4, 16 plus 9, 25 by 6. That's the mean. What about the mode? Sorry, let's talk about median. What is the step 1? Arrange them in the ascending order, right? So 1, 3, 3, 4, 5 and 9. Right, how many elements are there? There are 6 elements. So that's odd even number. So the median is basically average of 6 by 2 is third term and the next term is the fourth term. What is the third term? 3 and the fourth term is 4. So it is 3 plus 4 by 2. The answer is 7 by 2. What about the mode? 3 is repeating twice, everything else is repeating only once, so the mode is basically 3. Similarly for set B, what is the mean? It's 8 plus 10 plus 16 by 5, there are 5, so it will come out to be 12 for sure. Right? Even if you do it, you should ideally be getting 12. So because they are like consecutive even numbers, if I can see middle term would be the average. Median is also simply 12 because it's already arranged in the increasing order. What is the number of elements? I have 5 elements. So the median is basically 5 plus 1 by 2th term, that is third term. What is the third term? First, second and third, so 12 is the answer. What about the mode? It has no mode, right? Because all the elements, 5 elements I have, each one of them is repeating only once. They are not repeating twice. So this set does not have any mode. That's the answer for that.